Welcome back to Book of Dawn, IOTH Academy. I'm tormented by gnomes. Joining me, we've got Crowan, Leg Day, and Lemon Kiwi. Welcome back from the break, everyone. Just here at the top, I wanted to let everybody know that in our Discord, we have a community game going on where our subscribers can create students who are attending the school at the same time as our heroes in this story. If you have your Twitch connected to your Discord and you're an active subscriber, you can join there, go to the IOTH Academy channel, ask some questions, we'll get you connected to it. A lot of the NPCs running around in our story right now are played by community members. It's a lot of fun. We've got resources and lore up there. You can choose what classes you went to, occasionally help the Codex cheat on their homework, or join Sventisco's posse. It's a lot of fun. We've been having a lot of fun with it.
It's going to be a BattleBot League.
There's going to be about that's the thing that's happening.
17th Artificer.
Wrong button.
BattleBot League. There's got to be
another one.
No, I literally missed. I literally missed. Delete the VOD.
Oh no.
That's 1 XP.
Yeah, that's 1 XP for sure. All right. When we last left our heroes, the luck of the laughing god was with them, which could be really helpful going into their final projects.
Does that stack with Lucky?
Yeah.
Garnet and I just like laughing.
Dude, that stacks with everything.
Homies.
If you have the adaptive feature where you can add plus 1d4 to a roll, it stacks with that too. You could add 1d4 and 1d12. You could potentially get plus 1d8. You could potentially get plus 12 to a roll.
Dude, these rolls are going to be so jammy. I've still got 2 inspiration in the bank.
All right. So, when last we left our heroes, Garnet was spending late hours studying with Cryas's help. And this stuff isn't actually his expertise. He chats with you as he's like bringing out, oh, you should definitely read this, and you should read this, and this is by IOTH. This one here, this is a record that was transcribed from IOTH's translation. Obviously, there's a bit of a theme going on as he brings you things. But he makes a couple of comments like, IOTH is one of the survivors of Luminius. But most of his most of what Cryas is interested in is his travels since then. The efforts that he went along with his companions to travel when the world was divided into the 4 kingdoms and the laws of reality and magic had changed. IOTH and his companions, who were all survivors from Luminius, traveled across these new worlds to explore them and figure out how they worked, how they are fit together, what made them tick, and what the new rules were. That's how he came up with the art of wizardry. He invented wizardry. So most of the older stories, it's kind of important to Cryas's studies, but he's been more interested in the later stuff. But maybe this book will help, and this book will help. So you're familiar with the legend, the Shining Citadel of Luminius, the greatest civilization of the Dawn era, built by people who could shape reality with their very minds, allowing them to create things that are impossible. Coveted by the Infernals. Protected by the love of Barash and Lotne, undone by the venom of the Scorpion, who lured Barash from the city, faked his own death, led Lotne to despair, and took the whole place out. And the Scorpion sort of falls out of legend at that point. Can you hear my cat?
Yeah, he's so cute.
Okay.
So cute.
It's a little bit.
Library cat, that would make sense. I imagine there are a lot of cats at IOTH Academy.
Library cat, now lore, now canon.
Let's go.
Nice.
Write it into your stories, folks.
What's
Enjoy
the
the
name
campaign.
of Library Cat?
Come here.
Very important.
Well, it probably shouldn't be the name of my cat because Floofers isn't a particularly fantasy
Aww.
name.
That's beautiful, actually. It's perfect. Floofer's the Library Cat.
Immortalized. So you are spending late hours reading on what happened. There's no real accounts. Barash hunts down the Scorpion, finds it mocking him with Lotne's spirit dangling from its claws. The 3 of them are tangled in battle. they fall into a dark river, and they're never seen again. They fall out of history at that point, right? And you're just going over the books, and it's history, and it's poems, and it's sad songs about all of this, and two things that you learn. First, I don't know if you already knew this. There's no record of the machine prints before the fall of Luminius. None whatsoever. Like, doesn't appear in any of those old stories. Doesn't appear in anything until after the dawn ends and the world is divided into the four kingdoms. The second thing that happens is our act of God. Which
Just like brush past that one, you know.
And by the machine prints, do you mean the one that Garnet has a date with?
Mm-hmm.
The very
Yeah.
same.
That's still coming up.
Okay.
So, as you're poring over these books and looking over like illuminated manuscripts of them, and nodding off, getting unfocused. Sweet pea. Hush, hush. She's hungry. You're sort of nodding off, and your eyes drift across the symbol that marks your arm. And I can't do drama right now. I have to feed this cat. I will be right back.
Okay, no problem.
All right, pitch names for cat
Be
now.
entertaining till I get back.
So
Amazing.
I've pitched him a chat in real unto me hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just like a colloquial known name. The kids just make fun of it. Call it
We can like pretend we
Hour.
can pretend we're having lunch right now too.
like
True.
if Inra ever just wanders the Great Hall, we're like,
Probably gets really mad at it, but can't actually do anything about it.
the entire student body is just pranking him.
Oh no.
We're all having our lunch.
Lunchtime.
See,
I'm like showing my demon books. Like, guys, did you know that the scorpion disappeared and no one has seen him since?
Garnet.
Yeah.
Do you speak Infernal?
Yes. But don't
Mm.
tell anyone.
Oh, just wondering if that would if there were going to be any impediments to your study from that, but I would see no.
Well, of course. How would I be able to read all these books if I wouldn't know Infernal? And I like have all these like arms of books.
It's like demonically bound. It's like smoking.
Where'd you learn?
I taught myself. I was reading in a cave once, and I taught myself Infernal because there were some books that were in Infernal. I once opened a book that was in Infernal, and a big old dragon came out of it. And that's why I have dragon thing. It's not dragon wings. It's just, I don't know, these busted ass wings come out. But anyway, hi.
Hello.
We were just feigning a lunchtime conversation.
Oh, just some important character shit just came out.
And also we decided that Inral Untomorlar is getting pranked by everybody in the Great Hall when he visits. Like, he doesn't know about Inral Untomeower. So, like, when he's walking around, there's just like, in the background, just some students making fun of it.
Perfect. In the midst of Inril Untermeower constantly just going back and forth and making an absolute racket, which makes it really difficult for you to concentrate on your studies, right? Your gaze falls upon the symbol, and the world passes from your eyes for a moment. And you return to that point in time where you healed Alyxander.
It's hard.
Uh-oh.
And the sunlight, the power of the sunlight, that warmth, that confidence, that reassurance, the confidence that there is a power that cares, that is looking out for you, something that you were instilled with from a very young age, something that you lost when the butchers fell upon your family. Every so often, you still feel just a faint hint of that warmth that seeps in all the way to your bones. But when you, in this vision, when you set your hand on Alyxander to tend to his wounds, that warmth, that heat is met by a yawning void of cold, frozen, dark ice. And the two powers clash instantaneously, as if like steam rose up from the onslaught of this heat and this frigid, deep, bitter cold. And beneath the cold is this slow flowing, half frozen river of pitch. Slogging along. And three voices underneath the crunching and the flowing of the ice. There's rage, there's sorrow, and there's a deep, bitter hatred, all flowing as one. And then the vision ends.
Oh. So am I like zoning out in front of Cryas, or is this like on my
Cryas,
own?
like,
Or?
he was up getting you another set of books. He shows up with another set of books when you wake up. He's like, I thought these might be helpful too.
Crash like shakes her head, gets punched in the face.
Ow, my face!
So I was probably like sitting at a desk, like
Mhm.
holding a book. But while the vision happens, I've dropped the book, but my hands are still in place, and I'm just
Mhm.
like zoned out.
And the image, as this vision passes from you, your eyes fall back to the book that you were looking at, and the book depicts the scorpion with Lotne's spirit in its claws and Barash's spear through its chest, and the three of them tumbling towards the river.
And I like blink and shake my head and like, what book? Uh-huh. And I look at Cryas, what? But I'm like visibly shaken at that point.
Have you slept at all?
Yeah, a couple hours. Yeah, trying to prepare for the thesis last night.
All right. Just and by the way, it's been some time since the face stomping incident. Half of his
okay.
face is still just purple. Like he's on the mend, but it's gonna take him a while to recover. It's still incredibly sore. He's getting medical treatment for it. You're not sure what he told the apothecaries
Or the student body.
or the student body.
So I'm probably like,
Rumor mill, baby.
so if he just like flinches at, I don't know, or touches his face at all, I'll probably get concerned and stand up, leave the book, and just put a healing hand like right on the purple part of his face. It's supposed to be cute. Shut up.
Palm smack.
Not like that. Just like a gentle, like a gentle touch of, oh, is that still hurt?
And it visibly goes down, and he doesn't seem to be any less red, however. In fact, his whole face is red now.
Like, oh, I guess that didn't work.
No, that... What was that? Thank you. That's...
Oh, I like show him the symbol. It's just, oh, Zalar, have this symbol for a while, and I can heal from it sometimes. So
That's incredible. You know, most people can't do that, right?
everyone's got something unique, don't you?
I just study really hard. I wasn't born with any kind of magic. Everything that I do is what I've learned and made happen.
That's all we can do, right? Show him the book with the symbol, or like whatever I was reading, the scorpion stuff. Did you know that they all crashed into a river and they haven't been seen since?
Yeah, I recall reading that. It doesn't really come up in much of the things that I read, since I'm mostly uh, interested in IOTH's later career. It's not a particularly good, it's a pivotal, super important historically. He's still flushed, by the way.
I'm like, wow, man, Lotne and is it Barash?
Barash, yeah.
Barash and Lotne had such a wonderful thing. Really unfortunate Scorpion had to go and ruin it. Wonder where they've been though. Wonder if they'll ever come back.
To the best of my knowledge, when the first mines were destroyed, there wasn't really anything left of them. They sort of discorporated. Their essence, their energy was recycled into other things, unless the Infernals ate it.
Oh, that's gross.
That's what they came here to do.
Do they eat magic
Yes.
users often? I've got a date with one in about 3 months.
Is there any infernal texts in Infernal that are
Not-
around, or
Not in this library, not in the lodges.
okay, just checking.
Next year.
Next year. Cool.
Then we go wild, baby.
Well, I think I know what I want to write about. I really want to know, just deep dive into this battle. I think people don't understand it and how important it is, and there's no one is questioning this.
It seems like, yeah, historically, seems like a solid thesis. All right.
Is he giving me weird vibes? Is he giving me weird
No,
vibes?
he's literally too distracted by the fact that you gave him this gentle touch and it made him feel better to parse or be critical or wary of anything at the moment.
Okay. Well, thanks for all these books. And I'm carrying whatever he gave me. I'll go through these tonight. See you later.
Yeah, get some rest. Don't stay up too late.
Okay. I'll go off.
He stares into the distance, and Inril Untermeower plops on his feet because he stands there too long. Now, Elnau misses the next meeting that you have with her.
I'm pissed. So am I just waiting and she never shows up?
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling my
with your
eyes,
final
tapping the pencil loudly, checking the clock,
Mm-hmm.
as fucking if. She's always on me, showing up at the right minute, at the exact second that she's available. Her time is so precious. She stands me up. Oh, her teacher review is gonna have it. Oh, I don't have her till later. Damn
Zero
it,
chili peppers.
No, ratemyprofessor.com is gonna hear about it. Okay. Would there be a way I could send do professors get letters and stuff?
Yeah.
Or I'll probably send her a letter what the fuck at the end, Garnet.
All right. Is that the whole letter, or is it a long letter and that ends with what the fuck, Garnet?
Yeah, probably a giant paragraph of everything I just said of if your time is so precious and you just can't show up and at least give me notice. That's the most polite thing you can do. You've taught me about being a woman, and this is not very woman of you, not very polite, not professional at all. And are you okay? But anyway, what the fuck? And then Garnet.
All right. Before we continue, is there anything else that the party wanted to tend to before we proceed with your projects, find out where Ika Elnau is? Does Garnet have this mystical vision that she received, which might have some other effects? I need to look into that. Any further investigation or thoughts on that? And did you want to cast that identify spell? Giving you a moment before I reassert control of the narrative here.
Yeah, probably during one of the nights would want to ask Athalor if that would be still something he'd want, and then I would spend the night identifying it, however long it takes, and then probably wanting to search for Elnau but I can also wait till after the project if it's time-wise better that way.
Athalor is completely open to just, it's we don't need much sleep. Looking over towards the weak humans.
Hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay, sweet. I'll get it back to you by tomorrow.
All right. And you cast Identify on the dagger. It is a ritual dagger that can, in fact, manipulate and cut spell matrices. However, there's more to it than using it as a blunt instrument. Because, as most ritual daggers are, it's not very sharp. It's not. Its intended purpose isn't to just slice through things. What it does, it's designed for precision work. If you properly analyze a spell matrix, if you are able to visualize it, either if you're super familiar with the spell matrix or if you cast Detect Magic so you can actually see it and analyze it, rather than just swinging at the spell, you can find the exact right place, the exact right thread, if you will, slip the knife in and give it a twist or give it a cut to unravel the whole thing. If you just sort of flail on the spell, then it jangles it and the caster will have to make a check in order to maintain concentration. But with the right precision and knowledge, you can slice through almost like you're cutting a wire on a bomb.
Ooh. We've got a
Okay.
diffuser kit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that night, like finding out about that, not getting to see Master L now, especially after the gala, especially after everything that's happened, like hasn't seen her since. Like Garnet's getting very anxious, very conflicted over the Zalar and how, you know, the dance went so well. Zalar is usually not someone she can trust, and now she's getting visions. So I think she's like thinking about trying to use the dagger on the Zalar symbol to try and unravel it, because she's always been trying to get rid of it. And then decides against it because she's just like so unsure about everything right now, and always confides to Master L now. And now that she's not around, she's just like, I don't know what to do. Probably has issues sleeping that night, but otherwise, that's what happens.
Okay. Did Alexander or Athalor have anything they wanted to take care of before we proceed?
Athalor and Garnet could have had a slight conversation about her interest in the Battle of Barosh and Lotne, because that's what Athalor
yeah.
sang about at the gala.
Oh yeah, I'll probably tell you about my project. Be like, oh, did you know they crashed into the river and no one has seen them since?
Athalor could definitely share like some music from the Alpha that is related to Luminius and the kind of lore that they've generated around there, because that's what he was playing before.
Mm-hmm.
Are they like love songs or sad songs or like what?
Mostly like theatric tragedies, longing for what was and where they came from, because I believe that all Alpha are the descendants of IOTH and his companions who decided to become the Dawn Elves.
Yes. Essentially, the inhabitants of the Dawn world were just called the First Minds because everything was this proto-matter that included their own bodies. They could make whatever bodies they wanted for themselves, change them at will. There was no like, since physical forms were so permeable, they just identified themselves as the First Minds and could be whoever they wanted to be. But when the Dawn was divided, that ended. They had to choose forms. The survivors had to choose forms for themselves. Those who mourned the loss of the Dawn world became the first Alfar. Those who fell in love with the natural places of the mortal world became the Holdra, or the Dusk Elves. Those who were fascinated by the intricacies of the new world and how it fit together became the Dok Elfar, the Dark Elves. Those who sort of resented this newfound solidity and craved freedom above all else became the Aurai, the Winged Elves. And those who just wanted to go underwater and not deal with anyone else or their problems became the Havet, or the Sea Elves. So the First Minds are the proto-ancestors of a lot of Fae, not all Fae, and all the elven kind.
Oh, wait, you know a lot about this Dawn magic stuff. I should have asked you about my project.
I am a Dawn Elf.
Yeah, but you're a dumb elf.
That's insulting.
Well, all right, maybe you do know some stuff. Well, what do you think about this project?
I think it's a great start. How are you planning to link it back to Dawn magic? Maybe
Well, this
the
is the
link
whole
of
Dawn world and stuff. I mean, this is all Dawn magic stuff anyway. But I mean, this is a really important battle in the Dawn world, the most important one. That's that fact. And I start listing all the titles that I read overnight that Cryus gave me. This author was very explicitly clear about, and then I start rambling off about the battle.
Garnet, there's one other detail that you noticed in all of your research. The
Okay.
spear that Barash used to stab the scorpion when he taunted Barash with the broken spirit of Lotne. The spear was made from a metal called thinaun.
How do you spell it?
I'll spell it in the Discord.
Okay.
You are not familiar with the properties of this material. It's very obscure. It's not something you immediately recognize. You may make an Arcana or a Nature check to see if you are inherently familiar with it, but the DC is pretty high.
Let's try it.
No, you are not familiar.
Probably ask Athalor, do you know what thinaun is?
would Athalor have any chance in getting this Arcana check from his refuge and their
Yeah,
business?
it's a possibility. It's a long shot, but you can take a shot at
We'll
it.
give it a looky. Rando boys.
17. No.
Oh shit! Wow.
I'm
Okay.
afraid I haven't come across it before. Alex, no.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. Alex probably wouldn't have even ran into it for a roll or anything.
All right.
Could I ask Cryus, like, if I meet him in the hall, be like, "Yo, you ever heard of the noun? Was that if you had ever seen him?"
Cryus is a huge nerd, so I'm going to give him a chance to know this. Also, Alex, roll an insight check for me, please.
Sure.
Oh, come on, Cryus.
You got a natural one.
Ooh,
When
come on,
you
Cryus.
when you ask him, he immediately trips and falls
Oh my god!
and
are
drops
you
all of
okay?
his books. The spaghetti just leaks out of his pocket. It's everywhere. Yeah.
No, my tater tots.
he's fine,
My
but
cabbages.
he's embarrassed. Boggles.
They're back.
Fucking boggles are back, baby.
Something did bother me, though. All these Fey incursions and what that girl said that one time. We know anything about that? And all those.
Girl.
Oh,
Which one?
Sventisco.
Oh, yeah. What about her?
Well, she had a point, right? All these Fey incursions have been going on since we were first years.
Well, this is the pillar of Dawn magic. I'm sure lots of these creatures would be attracted to coming here, and
Yeah, I mean
it's a big source of magic.
That makes sense, but it's supposed to be stable. It should be kept out. It's the whole point of IOTH built this entire sphere as a stabilized pocket of Dawn magic, but it's also supposed to be secured against extraplanar intrusion. Fae shouldn't just be able to cross over from the other world willy-nilly.
Probably send a message to Alex and Athalor to be like, well, if people can leave, they sure can come in.
Also,
Yeah.
Alexander, when you're asked about the metal thinaun, there's this brief chill in your mind. It's kind of a...
Alex will internally say, ring any bells for you?
It's a very specific question.
All right, thanks for the help.
All right, cool.
Perhaps, Cryus, it would be worth a little bit of attention from the Codex to be the ones who help IOTH with patching these holes.
He gets this look. He takes his papers that he's assembled on his project, his end of year project. He crumples it up and he runs back to the library.
Oh, no.
Was that me?
I think that was you.
What did I promise. I'm trying to be nicer.
He
And yet-
needs to. I'm like, I start rushing after Christ. So like, wait. And I'm picking up his papers. Wait.
This is either really good or really, really bad.
Was there anything else that Alexander and Athalor wanted to do?
Not specifically. I mean, like Alex would honor his like engagement to hang out with Darina, whatever happens there. But not really much besides that. Oh, would want to be informed on the identifying what the knife did, which I'm sure he's probably filled on. In
Yeah.
Oh
honor.
yeah, I probably explained to them what I
Sure.
learned.
Yeah.
And give
Cool.
the knife
Then
back, of course.
Not
Right.
Can we get
myself,
that description in backstage at some point, Nems, when we're done with this?
Yeah,
I
I'll be
can
able to write
append it
that
to
up.
my
Remind
inventory thing.
remind me, otherwise
Dope.
I will forget. Also, Garnet, that act of God, there's still a little bit of lingering power left over from that.
What's that mean?
I don't know.
Good
You're about to
question.
burn the fuck out of us crying cry.
Just don't
Oh,
touch me.
fuck.
All right.
Alex is like my no square.
This is my safe
Personal
space.
bubble.
You stay away.
Personal space. Personal space.
So actually, a question on that. So I was assuming Alex didn't feel anything, but can Alex like sense anything from Garnet like radiating that kind of energy or no?
Not unless you have a reason to
Okay.
inquire.
Not really. I'm just curious.
All right. That night, as you're contemplating carving off the symbol with the dagger, but you choose not to. In your dream, what do you dream about afterwards, Garnet?
There's probably like some mixed dreams happening of whether like her friends are getting killed or
Mhm.
now she's doing the killing, because
Mhm.
now she's probably thinking about the hag because that sister gets brought up, so she's probably dreaming about killing the sister hag
Mhm.
with the dagger. That'd be cool.
All right. You're stabbing the
Very
crap out of the
Halloween-esque.
sister hag. Just there's blood everywhere. We're not going to describe it on stream. We would get demonetized. But as you're doing so, the blood splatters across your birthmark, the sign of Zalar, and it splatters across the dagger. And for a moment, in a reflection in the bloodstained dagger, you see two burning blue eyes behind you.
Immediately turn around,
There's nobody there.
look back at the dagger. It's still there.
No, it's gone.
Oh, I don't recognize those eyes at all. Like from
Oh, yeah,
like-
you do.
Oh,
do.
you know
like
those eyes.
Alex's, like
Mhm.
Alex's.
Mhm.
Ah.
Spare Herald's back, baby.
It's keeping his eye on
So,
you.
so I'm probably like, because I probably have good control of the dreams at this point, right?
You've been working on that for a very long time.
So I'm probably like, Messenger, don't you see I'm busy right now?
Don't let me stop you.
Glad you cashed in your free ticket to the show. And then I just continue.
This is Infernal Tinder reminding you have a date in 3 weeks. You matched with the Machine Prince.
Ooh, he's tall, dark, and handsome.
Likes
cold
long
to
walks
the
on the beach
touch.
and music.
And occasionally killing.
Artisanal murder. And Anachronists don't settle for nothing less.
Our date is inexorable.
Little sneak preview. Monka.
If you want to have that taken care of, you're going about it the wrong way.
Is he like meaning the hag or the machine prince?
Your birthmark.
Oh.
He doesn't say that, but this is dream logic. You immediately know,
Oh, right.
holding the dagger, looking at it, dream logic. You immediately know that's what he's referring to.
Well, what are you trying to suggest?
That's part of you. It's not a mere spell you can slice apart with some toy.
So what can I slice with this thing, huh? And I like maybe, I guess I can't point to him because he's in the dagger, but I'm like, does it affect people like you?
Quaint. No. But I know what can change your nature.
Well, you're the truth teller, so you're telling the truth right now. I'm imagining this dagger doesn't harm you at all. And I do like a little stabby motion in the air. Really?
No more than any other mortal blade.
So only non-mortal things can harm you.
Despair never dies.
So what are you suggesting here? Why do you even care about this symbol anyway? Don't you have a little servant to tend to?
He's not a servant.
Oh, your buddy. Yeah, your little buddy.
But if you wish to change your nature, what you need is dawn magic.
Uh-huh, go on.
My purpose is to undo lies and reveal the truth. The greatest lie that is being perpetrated in this place is built on dawn magic. It is growing stronger with every passing day. And it would be much better in service to truth. If you had that power in your hands, you could change your own nature. You could rewrite yourself, who you are. Remove that seal, be beholden to no one. And take that power away from a deluded, pathetic liar.
Probably something clicks as soon as like he says, take the power away. I'm like, kind of eyes light up. I can do that?
Yes.
How?
By breaking into IOTH's office.
Yeah, we have the
You
list of
son of a bitch.
tools. I'm in. I'm like, well, that's the plan already. And we have the list of spells. We have the list of tools. Am I missing something here?
I just wanted to let you know that that's what's at stake. You could be somebody else, and it would not be a lie, it'd be real.
And well, why I think this meeting with the Machine Prince might be useful after all, because I think if we can't break in by this way, we can just break in by force.
It seems like you have this well enough in hand, then.
Do you think I'm gonna need convincing with the prince?
I'm sure the two of you will get along just fine.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna get back to this now.
And the presence fades. Stab, 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 stab. That whole time, the hag's just like gurgling and coughing up blood.
You thought Garnet was a protagonist, but she's actually the antagonist. She's about to invite an Infernal into the academy.
Garnet and friends.
I mean,
Garnet and friends.
to be fair, thanks to Alexander, the call is already coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
The expelling is inexorable.
That's not my fault. He started it.
Might be your fault. Might be a bit your fault.
Impressionable child. I'm what am I, 14? The
Yeah,
harness
just
the
like-
power of the school? Hell yeah. That sounds hot.
Just out here, like, internalizing the goth phase. You're like, yeah, I'm friends with demons.
Yeah, whatever. I speak demon.
All right. Alyxander, in your research, one of the main defining factors of the dragon tribes, they're made up of many different ancestries. Dragonborn, obviously, lots of humans, kobolds, and a few others that have sort of joined them as a cultural force. But the main thing that sets them apart is very early in their history, they met dragons, the almost newborn dragons of Anacra. And the dragons were infused with the power and knowledge of the sovereigns. And when the world was young, when it had been divided into the four kingdoms, and the mortal species, you got the elves who sort of were the immediate offspring of the survivors of Luminius, but they quickly had a new generation of truly mortal elves born into this world of the four kingdoms. But you had the humans and the orcs and the goblins and halflings and gnomes all sort of appearing across the world, emerging from this new set of laws of physics. And in every corner of the world, there were mentors who helped them over time. Sometimes there were the elves who still had that knowledge from Luminius. That's kind of what IOTH did when he set up the academy. It was, okay, I've been around for a while. I know how fire and the wheel and all these other things work, plus a bunch of other stuff I figured out. Come on down. I will teach you. I will get you hooked up with this information. But there's been other patrons to the mortal species across the world. And the dragon tribes, when they were young, the patrons that they met who had knowledge and had power and had magic, who taught them the way that the world works, were the dragons. So the greatest festival for the Charir tribe celebrates, there is a dragon. At this point, how long has it been? There was a dragon named Charir, who was the first dragon who they met, who became their overlord, who shared knowledge with them. Charir's descendants still live they still rule that tribe because the blood of that dragon flows in the ruling line. So their big celebration that they have is the dragon meet, when humans and dragons first made contact and shared that knowledge. That's one of their biggest festivals.
Okay, cool. The dragon meat.
Yeah, not a cookout.
And they have big, it's a big festival. They decorate the whole place. They have ceremonial dances and songs that sort of reenact that meeting in this it's not like a nativity play where they literally go through all the motions. It's much more symbolic, dragon dances, that sort of thing. But it celebrates this sort of gift of knowledge and the dragon's blood to the mortal races. You've familiarized yourself with the ornate makeup and the outfits and the dances. There's a lot of fire involved. So you've definitely familiarized yourself with some of the tenets of the holiday.
Okay, and so I know a major theme is the gift of knowledge, and there's songs that depict it. So in terms of Alex wanting to, because the class is runic. No, it's
Draconic studies. So
okay, it's just general draconic studies though. But I guess
the main focus of draconic studies is, while it does cover culture and history, the academy is primarily concerned with magic and with how their magic works. So as long as that is present in some regard, draconic magic is present in some regard, you should pass muster.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Any thoughts, or do you need a moment to ponder?
No, it sounds good. As long as there's draconic magic in there, then that's I guess then draconic magic, what form might be most easily most easily be presented for
So
draconic magic in regards to this?
Draconic magic comes from the blood, although it can also be captured in draconic runes. It is tightly bound to the elements. It tends to be extremely strong and focused on personal will, expression, and words. So sorcerers, dragon blooded sorcerers, cast from their force of will, and the the conduit that they open is in their very blood. And red dragon magic, Chirir magic, tends to focus heavily on fire. Not entirely on fire, but there's a lot of fire involved.
Okay. I think obviously this is putting Alex's deception to the test here for magic coming from draconic means, but has the idea to try to capture some of it within runes if that is doable, and maybe even go a step further and try to incorporate some sort of a performance into it, because that is a big part of the dragon meat. Maybe enlist Arena's help, but we'll see. That's
That's not a bad idea. Now, the runes would need to be inscribed on something, a physical object. So you could definitely incorporate like your runes and then dance or performance of some kind into this, but you need to know what you're going to put the runes on and what you're going to make them out of, what materials you're going to use, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Duly noted. Up to you, Alex. A little research. Let me go over it now or in the future.
Your call. Do you have an idea right now? Do you want to pass and ponder?
I mean, I think the vision is that we want to introduce for the presentation itself, introduce the whole dragon tribe for this dragon meat and the thing, kind of go over it and then launch into a bit of a performance, maybe with Dorina's help, of one of the dances that go along with it, while then capturing kind of some draconic runes on just kind of any I think it'd be parts of either the clothing or things that they're holding while they're doing a performance, but then activate them to release fire or release some I guess want to make it mainly fire, since fire is the focus of that. So just release magics during the performance itself.
There are two possibilities that I can see here for the actual physical object upon which the runes would be inscribed. One would be the robes, like you said. They've got ceremonial robes used for dancing that have these long extra fabric to them so that they can swoop kind of like wings in specific patterns. So you could get those embroidered with draconic runes to try to capture some fire magic in that. But also, if you ever seen fire dancers who use the bolas on chains that are lit on fire before, that's part of the tradition as well. So if you made some of those and runed those up using metals, then that would be another direction that you could go.
Okay, yeah, I probably would. I mean, Alex's priorities are, wants to do well in his academics recently, so might try to go both, get some runes and some fabrics, and then some of those as well.
Do the artificers count as metal workers?
Some artificers would count as metal workers. It all depends on what their craft of choice is, right? There's someone in the Kizjan who makes toy mice out of wood and metals, but small intricate work. So
Hildegard is wood, and I assume that Quan is more metal because they're from a designer city.
Yeah, I think actually on that regard, Alex would strongly encourage within the codex to make these end of year projects as good as possible, to help each other out with their abilities, so that everyone can do super well on these. So if there's any assistance that someone can do, and to probably would actually make it mandatory to basically a form to, I guess, list what your project is going to be, and so everyone has access to it, so they can see oh, can I help out in this person's just any little bits and pieces that they can do. Some I imagine bigger, some smaller contributions, but just make sure that we all do super well on it.
Okay. Some of that has already been going on within the codex. If this is being made mandatory, then I will be eager to see how our heroes involve themselves in the projects of others.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out. No, unless of course you're oh yeah, it's mandatory, but I'm not going to help anybody else. That's a valid character choice.
No, definitely would want to help other people out if possible.
Keep your eyes on the scriptorium to see if anybody there needs a hand from our heroes.
Anyone need some sculpting or possibly performance?
And I guess The assistance part isn't mandatory, but mandatory to at least like have the options so that people can see and then offer their own help.
Okay, so
if
it's
they want
mandatory to
to.
list what your project is so
Yeah.
people know if they need help, but it's not like you
Mhm.
must participate X hours or you get
Yeah, no.
demoted.
It's not that. It's not that. Just mandatory to list it. And then if people can, it's like strongly encouraged if you can help with somebody's, then to do so.
All right. People have been listing their projects and working on them already, so we'll make sure that that's available.
Cool.
Athalor, what is phase 2 of your project? You've spent some time analyzing the gyre box and the cloak with the pattern on it together. You've got a very keen understanding of how those two interact. What do you want to do next?
I think the next thing that Athalor needs to do is use his primary study here of the artifice to generate a readied spell matrix around the cloak to like utilize that planar dissonance, which mechanically, for those of you in chat who are sticklers, is going to be a variation of a sanctuary spell.
So how are you going to infuse the spell matrix into the physical object? When you cast a temporary spell on something, the spell matrix can just be made of energy. You just sort of lay this energy on there. But when you want an item to remain enchanted, this is why you always see people making swords out of, meteor iron and struck 3 times under a full moon. Those sort of elements help to form a permanent matrix for the spell, for the magic to reside in. When you make a magic item, you have to do precise things, use special materials, special construction methods, so on and so forth, so that it can hold that stable matrix in it. So what are you doing with this cloth to hold that matrix?
I assume that it's quite a special cloth, given that it was part of the old Alpha Reserve. And I think that Athalor is going to take like the lit like arcane points on it and use those as sort of like focuses for the different points on the matrix, and that those points would begin to shift to where they're needed when the spell itself is activated.
Okay, so you're going to modify the properties of the cloth. You're going to modify the actual pattern of the cloth, right?
Kind of modify the modifications, as it were, because the points on the cloth already sort of like move about, like mystically reflecting what it's supposed to be. And it's that reflection that's going to be projected to give over the effects of a sanctuary spell.
Okay.
So to be honest, it's kind of just being anchored to the moving points that are already there. Athel just need to figure out like how it relates to where the refuge in the other plane is in the reality of the world,
Right.
more than just, oh, these are moving. That's pretty.
I think you've got a really good understanding of that. It's just a question of implementing it so that it can be done, because that cloth doesn't react normally to you thinking this, right?
Yeah.
So you need to get it to be malleable in that way.
Maybe there's a way that Athalor could kind of affix different points on it with like where it would be mounted to the armor might be a good place to try and get the spell matrix working, because because this is also the elven armor that's sort of like salvaged from his Green Gala outfit. Like he's just making it into an all-in-one gauntlet cape piece, and that's probably a much better place to like start the upper part of the matrix that could kind of like flow over and sort of like download the information from the cape itself.
You could use metal pins to affix the cloth to the gauntlet, and you could affix those pins in places that are key anchor points to mark out some of the confines of the spell. The skill involved for that would be some sort of physical crafting. Your craft is sculpting. I would take like embroidery or metalworking or something along those lines to pull this one off, with an assist from you for the arcana, but you would need somebody to like do the physical actual work of it. You could make a check, but unless you're proficient with those tools, which I don't think you are, it would be a non-proficient dexterity check.
So, who do we have in the codex that's good at this? We have plenty of artificers.
And all of them hate you.
Yeah. but Ned is a pussy.
Gonna bully somebody into helping.
And Hilda does close.
And if you want, we don't have to resolve this tonight to give people in the community a chance to respond to it. Because I'm thinking, unless something goes horribly wrong, next session we go to the ring. So go ahead, Athalor.
I think Hilda would be who Athalor asked. Like, he doesn't overtly know that Hilda hates him if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Athalor has actually done that much to the artificers. They just hate him.
All right. Roll a persuasion check and give me your general pitch, and we'll leave it up to, we'll leave it from there.
Pointedly waits until Alex has put out there, hey, you should help each other with this.
Yeah, that'd probably already be out. Alex would probably made that up.
Yeah, that's done. That's out.
Yeah.
All right. And Athalor would pitch like helping out to try and I think for Athalor, he'd be like I'd really love to see how Fae interact with like elven craftsmanship, because he thinks that the Fae have like some really good properties that would be able to enhance some of what the mortal world brings. Mortal.
All right. There's the pitch. Roll a persuasion check to back it up, and we'll move along.
All right. Are we going to dip into the inspiration pool for this one, chat, is the question.
You have your 1d8 too.
All right. Remember, people are not obliged to abide by the results of those check. It just is an additional data point they can use to be like, did he ask really nicely? Well, if I still hate him, then I still hate him. But it was a nice ask. All right. Hilda's going to help. Awesome. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Is that them in Discord or me?
You roll the d20 because we have to do it live. We have to have a lock on this.
Oh, that's a good roll.
That's a really good roll. Plus a modifier that I'll calculate later. It's enough to tell me that's a banger of a roll. All right. Hilda assists with weaving the magical anchor points in the fabric to the gauntlet for the next phase of the project. That's excellent.
Nice. Is that one where there'd be any worthwhile putting an advantage roll on that? Nah, probably not.
No.
I think we're pretty good. This is working. This is great. Thanks, Hildegard.
All right. Garnet, what is the next phase of your project? You've done this research. You've learned that the Scorpion dropped off the radar after being killed by Barash with a Finnown spear and falling with Barash and Lotne into a river. You also had a weird vision about a river with 3 voices in it in connection with Alyxander.
Probably want to extend the research into the river. And like if I can identify that, because I think previously when I've rolled for research on this, I wasn't able to identify the river. But now that maybe with more visions and markers, geographic markers, maybe I can tell more, or I'd want to read more about it.
Okay. You can do investigation or history on this.
History. Yeah.
Is the general geographic location of where Luminius was widely known?
Well, I mean, it didn't really have a physical anchor in reality. The Dawn world was so amorphous and so morphic that there's no one-to-one. It's not like you can go visit the ruins of Luminius. Everything that was left of Luminius was divided and woven into the rest of the Dawn world, or the rest of the 4 kingdoms. That's a very large number.
Thank you for noticing.
GPS to the river.
So, as I was just saying, the river doesn't exist anymore. It only existed during the dawn before it was divided, but it was believed to have been a manifestation of the hatred of the Scorpion, shaping its reality around it. That may, with a 26, that may have left an impression of some kind in the underworld.
Field trip.
That river's gone, but a very similar river, an echo of that river, may yet endure within the underworld, a river of black bile, almost like pitch, slowly flowing, full of bad vibes.
Bad vibe. And how does how does in the D&D world, asking just in a general context, how does the underworld exist with the real world?
So here's the fun thing about Anacra, right? You can get to the other world by walking through a toadstool circle in the right forest. You can get to the Sky Kingdom by flying to a cloud. And you can get to the underworld by going really deep underground. Now,
Really, I just dig 2 miles down.
yeah. Now, the thing is, there's also crossing points all throughout the world. And so a lot of times in the real world, their caves are often named things like the Devil's Stovepipe or, Witch Fingers, things like that. Because people thought that if you went into that cave, you'd actually end up in hell.
Oh.
In Anacra, that's a thing. Crossing points are rare to the underworld because you have to go really, really deep to naturally get there. But there are certain places where you can just go down the right cave and you end up in the underworld.
Is that where Infernals live, or who lives in the
No.
underworld?
So
You've
the
been there and
underworld,
drowned.
the underworld isn't an unholy evil place. The underworld is just the wellspring of the elements. So the elements rise up from there, they flow up to form and support the mortal world, and then they sort of jettison up into the Sky Kingdom and then circulate and fall back into the underworld to be renewed, recycled, and then everything continues. The same thing happens with life energy. The underworld is where the pool of the Earth's blood is kept. It's kind of the source of new life. It's where life originates from, and it's where life goes back. It's not necessarily an evil place where the Infernals reign, because the Infernals rule the mortal world right now. The Infernals are running around, they're running the show. They're not trapped down
Right.
there. They have free reign.
Well, Garnet's probably well, I can't get there. Doesn't exist anymore. Blah, blah, blah. Don't, whatever. I can't get there. Can't see it. Probably oh, but this metal though. And that'll be outside that'll be a side interest of so what is this metal? No one knows about it. What the heck?
All right, I'll allow this to fall into your readings since your main project hit a snag. Thinown is a metal that absorbs souls.
Cool.
If you kill someone with a Thinown blade, their soul remains inside of that blade.
We got some anime katana shit going on.
Yeah, bro. It's about to be some bleach happening here. Okay.
So
That's
Barash, in his dying moments, killed the scorpion with a Thinown spear and fell with Lotne into the river.
Oh. So is this project going to be bad? Because
I mean, you sort of hit a dead end. You're going to have to, you haven't. Well, have you figured out anything about what happened to the scorpion with all this stuff that you've learned?
Oh, that's my brain telling.
And
I
that's
mean, probably
arachnophobia.
I mean, it's probably in the river. The river is in the underworld. They're in the underworld somewhere. Don't know how to get there. So probably, I mean, I think it'd be probably really sus to submit a project about the underworld. So when it's, dawn magic and all, so I'm probably trying to skirt this train back towards dawn magic before I get reported. So,
All right. What else you got? Actually,
maybe
at the end of that day, because this is going to take up a lot of time to go through all this stuff, that midnight, Master Elnell is in fact where you expected to meet her.
bitch. Okay. Okay.
Bitch, where you been?
Oh, is there underworld studies?
Yeah, you can do that next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll hold on until next year for that. Probably where
You can be told it's
were
boring
you?
at the next ceremony.
Yeah. Where were you?
Cleaning up your mess.
What do you mean?
I had to disappear a student, Garnet.
What? What do you mean disappear a student?
In the middle of a security issue, I had to have a conversation with Balvarax. He's fine.
You just said you disappeared him. What do you?
Yes.
You can't. What does that mean?
It means that I spirited him away and interrogated him while Inril was busy interrogating your genie friend. But look, I had to...
Spirited away? You killed him?
No, Garnet, I didn't kill him.
Is he still at the school?
Yes.
Oh,
He's
okay.
back with his friends. I had to interrogate him. I had to, which was not very forthcoming, by the way. And I had to somehow get him back to his schoolmates without anybody being the wiser. While Untermaler was in his lodge, interrogating Dubasif.
Oh yeah, I heard that. That looked fun. I didn't get much of it, but saw it happen. Yeah, lots to catch up upon since you missed our last class. First, I covered for you, so I got your back because some students were asking about their little friend that went missing, and I said I didn't know, and they bought it.
Great. Well done.
You're welcome. Another thing, there's lots going on up here. First, Zalar is making more contact with me, and I don't know what to do about that. Because Mirik has taught me a lot of things over the years that you have started to unlearn for me. I was supposed to shut people out. I was supposed to not love anyone. I'm supposed to not go home. I'm supposed to not feel, think anything to master the void. And I care about people, and I feel weak.
Okay. Garnet, what you're experiencing right now is a physiological state of being called being a teenager. Your feelings are normal and they will pass. And the most awful thing about being a teenager is that your own brain tells you some things are incredibly important, and it feels so real. It feels so urgent. Little tiny minutia just cuts you to your absolute core. And it's not for years to come that you'll realize that all of it was meaningless. But I can tell you that right now, and it's not going to mean a thing because your mind is going to disagree with me and your feelings are going to disagree with me. You're just going to have to trust me that this is something that everybody goes through. Eventually it will pass.
So she's probably been like cold stare, very angry, and just using like minor illusion without obviously any components. Kind of adds the depth of the voice of, do not talk to me like a child.
I don't think you're a child, Garnet. I think that life sometimes deals with us unfairly, and I respect that. But I can tell you that the power of the void transcends everything in these four kingdoms, and that emptying yourself is the only way to master it. So even if you are experiencing something contrary to that, you've also touched that power in ways that frankly impress even me. And in those moments, what you felt or didn't feel then, when you tore a hole in this world, at that exact moment, I know it's been years since that happened, but is what you're feeling now, when it conflicts with what you've been taught, I want you to think back to that moment when you were the strongest you have ever been.
Well, I plan on being stronger and the strongest, and maybe even be stronger than IOTH soon.
Soon.
Yeah.
All right, then. Prove it. Back to our lessons, unless there's anything else that you needed to share with me.
This project sucks. And I like throw papers at her.
I
Not
really
getting anywhere.
I don't know why
Can't
you
find the
even-
scorpion.
Well, yeah, nobody's found the scorpion. Went missing. Was killed by Barash. Wiped out.
But I heard them.
What?
I heard them. I had this vision and I heard them in the river.
Okay, show me your notes.
Ah,
All right. She's going through your notes. She's asking you questions back and forth. How much do you tell her?
probably everything.
Okay. Does she know about Alexander?
Well, in what way? Like, in what way are we talking about?
Does she know that Alexander is a warlock? Does she know that
No.
your power of Zalar turns off his magic?
No.
Okay. She doesn't know either of those things.
I ain't gonna wrap my booty up. I got you.
Okay. I don't know what to make of this, Garnet. I mean, if the answer's been lost and generations of scholars here at the Academy haven't been able to find the answer, then I don't think you're going to find the answers here either.
Can you just help me make this project good? I just want to get this over with. There's Underworld class next year, and if I'm a year behind, I'm gonna be delayed, and I can't.
Okay. You need to do something with etiology, something with dawn magic, or the origins of things.
Don't you have some old paper that I can have from another student or something?
Roll a persuasion check. Not for this class. I don't. You're the first fourth year I've worked with in like 2 decades.
Don't you think I'd be good enough to take one of your classes? This is bullshit.
Yeah, but I don't have a paper lying around for fourth year etiology.
Oh, well,
That's the problem
can't
at
you-
hand.
Can't you just help me write this?
This is not my expertise at all. I can't help you write this if we don't know what this is.
I don't know what it is either. This class is
Okay.
weird.
Roll an
Just tell me how to.
roll
Oh,
roll an
okay.
intelligence check, Garnet. Just a flat intel 19.
I'm quote smart.
Ladies and gentlemen, a genius.
Okay. She's going through. All right. Barash, a first mind. Lotne, a first mind. A scorpion, an infernal. Scorpion clutching Lotne's broken spirit.
What about
Barash.
this metal? Can't I read or write about this metal? Isn't this dawn magic metal or something?
That's not
the
dawn
noun.
magic metal. It's
Ah! I hate this class.
Teenage angst intensifies.
Garnet. As you are expressing your frustration, you have a sketch of that same page of the illuminated manuscript that shows the scorpion, this spined, gaunt, hateful fiend, this demon, falling into the river with a thin-on spear through its heart. Lotne's spirit in one claw and its hand around Barash's neck. Now, according to your research, Thin-on is only supposed to absorb the soul of the person who it kills. But in this particular instance, all 3 of these entities were in physical contact and spiritual conflict at the moment of death and at the moment that they plunged into this river. And if this sludgy stuff was, say, frozen, the ice would have a very particular consistency to it. Something that reminds you of the body of the figure that visited you in your dream. Of Alexander's
Soul River?
patron.
Some kind of soul river thing? Or what do you mean consistency?
Like if you froze that river of pitch into ice and then made a body out of it and cloaked it in shadows, it would look very much like Alexander's patron.
Oh, so they're made of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess for the project, I thought of like, so are souls made out of dawn magic? Or like could dawn magic be used to resurrect souls?
It could be. It could be.
Could I read about that and be like, oh, well, if their souls are still there, could dawn magic bring them back? Boom.
All right. Roll a religion check for starters. It's intelligence based. You're good at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, try that again with a little.
Any luck is in the chat.
May I luck this?
You have an inspiration left over if you want to use that before you
too.
use luck.
Yeah, let's do the inspo. There we go.
Okay. It's not clear if dawn magic could resurrect, but if anything could, if you wouldn't just be able to say, hey, Alaka Bam, Alaka Zaz, bring this person back from Oz. You would need to have like a good idea to sort of reweave their soul in your mind. The person doing the resurrection would need to have a key understanding of that person. But it's not outside the realm of possibility.
So it's probably so advanced, like PhD level stuff that Garnet's like.
But you could write a paper that like talks about it, like a 101, a super low level version.
Like an introductory to dawn magic and life and how it intertwines.
Yeah. No, that could work. That could work.
Okay.
That'll at least get you out of this rut.
Okay, can't find him. There's nothing else. Okay, how about this? And then Arianna was probably like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go back to practicing void magic. Homework is, sure, that matters.
I don't want to get held back here.
All right. This isn't the most particularly dramatic place for us to call it for the night, but what we're going to do is we are going to turn to the community as our students undertake their final projects to help each other out, to put these together so that next time we can go ahead and present all of everybody's final projects, have a meeting with a certain machine prince, and see if the codex ranks shuffle at all during the rest of the school year, and then we'll move on to the ring in our next episode. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for all of your wonderful support, and check in with us next time.
Bye.